You know, I had a friend of mine reached out to me and he said, hey Vince, I know that you worked at LPT, you were one of the founding members and you switched over to Real. I'm thinking about making the move myself. The two brokerages that I'm considering are LPT and Real. Could you point out some of the key differences in your mind that made you leave as a founding member with over 700 people in my downline? What possibly could be so good that it would make you leave? Like I said, both real estate brokerages are just absolutely fantastic, but Fred was deciding which brokerage he really wanted to go with. And since he knew, like I said, that I had worked at both, he said, Vince, what's the big difference? So this is a first of series. I'm going to compare Real to every brokerage that I've ever worked with in my 34 years in the real estate industry, so I can show you how I ended up here and why I ended up here. So first, let's just talk about some of the basics. The split. The split that you see over here at LPT is an 80-20 with a $15,000 cap. And at Real, the split is 85-15 with a $12,000 cap. Now that immediately put $3,000 a year more in my pocket, not to mention I'm getting a raise, a 5% raise on each of my closings with this system. So I give the check mark to Real on this one. And something to consider as well is that at LPT, the residuals that you make, if you have not capped that $15,000 cap, the residuals that you do make go to that cap. And then once you've capped, then you could start to receive the residuals. At Real, there is no such restriction. They do not intertwine the cap with your residual income. Whatever you make in your residual income, when you qualify for it, you get 100% of it. Big green check over there on that for me. So, you know, there's an example, I just wanted, because a lot of people don't understand this, but as an example, at LPT, if an agent worked, you know, in his first 12 months, he contributed $2,500 to the cap in his closings, and he had a few closings, but he recruited a bunch of people to the company and he made $20,000 in residuals. At LPT, they would have to take $12,500 of those residuals and apply it towards his $15,000 cap, and then the change, if you will, $7,500 would have gone to the agent. But at Real, the agent would have received the full 20, in the exact same scenario, the agent receives the full 20,000 because as aforementioned, Real doesn't mix the two between your income that you get, whatever you contribute to the cap, and your residuals. So you get 100% of the residuals. Big check mark for Real on that one. So there is one huge factor to consider. I'm not a reader. I never read my ICA when I joined companies. I just kind of go by. I did when I joined Real, but I learned a valuable lesson about reading your ICA, because there's one big difference, and that is at LPT, the new people that join the company, they're not eligible to receive any rev share for 90 days. So that's a significant thing for me, because if you brought in five top agents that cap during that 90 days, you're basically going to get zero residuals that year off of that agent, because once they cap, you know, no more residuals. So you could conceivably pay 2 caps yourself. You'd have to pay $30,000 yourself, cap one year, cap the next year, in order to receive the first dollar from those people that you had brought with you from your previous brokerage. So that's something to consider, and that was something super, super sensitive to me that made me want to go to Real, because I felt like that was more for the agent. So that excited me about making that move. So whatever residuals, again, that you get at Real, you get to keep. There is no applying it towards a cap or anything. So if you earn those residuals, you get to keep those residuals. That's a big yes, and a big yes from me. From day one, you can start. As long as you're a producing agent, you're going to be able to collect those residuals. My friend Fred, he also asked me what happens when you die, what could happen with the residuals. So that was really significant for me as well, because at LPT, when you pass away, you can leave your residuals to a person, a family member, but that person has to be a realtor or become a realtor, join Real, and produce sales in order to receive or inherit the residuals. Whereas at Real, you could simply leave it to a trust And it's as simple as that. And for me, if you have an elderly parent or you've got some kids that you know they're just not going to become real estate agents, I felt like my money was safe with Real because there were no obstacles that the recipient would have to go through. So I felt big green check mark for Real on that one as well. So Fred heard that LPT had a 100% plan. He said, hey, Vince, I want to know about this 100% plan because Real only has the basic 85-15 split. LPT gives you agent choice. You have the rev share plan and you have the 100% plan. So I explained to Fred that they do have the two plans and that they have the 100%, but 100% doesn't mean 100% at any brokerage. Example that I gave Fred is he closed 10 deals the year before. So I said, Fred, with that 100% plan, you have to pay $500 per deal plus a $195 fee per deal. So that basically goes up to, if you do the math, it's almost $7,000 for this guy, Fred. And you know, that's an 88-12 split. Now, it's only a 3% difference at that point between LPT versus Real, but at LPT on the 100% split, you're not allowed to participate in any type of rev share whatsoever. So Fred, to make up just for those couple of percentage points, could bring in one person. He could make up to $4,000 off of one person that they bring in per year. And of course, his income is unlimited, the amount depending on who they bring into the company. And then again, at LPT, the agent on this 100% plan that I think I've just shown is just a few percentage points different than Real. They're not eligible for any rev share. So that was a major factor. So Fred was happy that I took the time to explain the differences. So Fred can now carefully review his ICA from LPT. He can carefully consider the Real ICA, and he can decide what's best for him and his family. But I gave him my reasons why I made the switch to Real. And I always say I think Real is the Rolls Royce of all of these residual companies. They've got marketing, they've got a wealth planning, they've got so many things for agents that are just simply not available at other brokerages. It's no wonder that Real is the fastest growing real estate brokerage right now in the country. We're netting over 1,000 agents a month. That's how fast this company's growing, about 12,000 people a year. So, you know, if you want more information on joining Real, give me a call at 813-VINCENT or right here, rethinkresiduals.com. For those of you that stuck around this long to watch this video, thanks for watching. And no matter what brokerage you're with, I wish you continued success in the future. Thank you for watching.